Hello. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I know you guys are probably looking to get incorporated as a real estate agent in Ontario if you're clicking on this video. I wanted to save you some time. I put a link to Jean-Nicolas' law office right in the description down below so you guys don't have to sit through the entire podcast if that's what your goal is by clicking on this video. But if you want to listen to a great lawyer talk with myself, a real estate agent, about what the market's doing in Ontario and how a real estate corporation can help you, then enjoy this video. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out this episode. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing one of my real estate lawyer contacts and friend, Jean-Nicolas Crepin. Today, we covered the most important topic of the day, which is real estate corporations for Ontario agents. Whether you're in Ontario or any other state or province, you still want to hear out what Jean-Nicolas has to say. He has a lot of tips on how to save money and what a corporation can do for your assets and to protect your liabilities. Also, we talked about how important it is to have a good lawyer in your real estate team sphere so that you could serve your clients better. And also, Jean-Nicolas shares some tips on how new agents can approach lawyers and deliver value and start to grow a new relationship. If you guys are enjoying these episodes, hit that subscribe button and also click that like button. It really helps me out a lot. Thanks for joining me today, Jan.
It's an honor. Thank you very much for inviting us.
You look good.
I try to.
Yeah.
I dress well for you.
Sorry, I didn't dress up today. I just got these old rags on. In Ontario, when you go to court, do you have to wear that funky outfit?
Only in Superior Court.
Okay.
Like if you go to a regular court, for example, the Superior Court would be applicable for an appeal.
Yeah.
On a judgment or things like that, then you're required to wear the robe, and you don't have the fake hair, like it's not like in the movie.
On the Quebec side, they do that, right?
Not the hair.
No?
The robe is more important on the Quebec side because each level of court on the Quebec side, you need your robe.
Really?
Where in Ontario, first instance, let's say you're doing criminal law, you don't need it unless you have a trial at the Superior Court level.
What's the story with the wigs?
The wig, I don't know where the wigs comes from. I think
so interesting.
But the only time I saw the wigs is at the Court of Appeal in Toronto.
Okay.
The judge were wearing it.
I wonder why.
And it's intimidating. Like not the wig itself, but you go there and it's a different, like here in Ottawa, let's say you go to the courthouse.
Yeah.
It's a regular court. You have your judge in front, the stenograph, and the clerk, and then you have defense lawyer, prosecution, or litigation. You have two lawyers. Where when you go to the Court of Appeal in Toronto, it's three judge, and they're elevated. They're maybe 10 feet higher than you are.
Whoa.
And you talk, it's old school, but you talk to the bench. So meaning you talk higher than you.
Wow.
And you have to convince 2 out of 3 judge to win your case.
That's crazy.
I went there twice, and both time, even if I was a seasoned lawyer at the time, it's still intimidating.
Of course.
All of a sudden you got 3 judge, you got a few more clerk, a few more stenograph, and like the hype's a little bit higher because you're on appointment and you have a certain amount of time to plead your case. Where in Ottawa, if you take 3 days, you take 3 days. Like they might reprimand you if you're talking about the weather, but like
different levels.
But when you go to the Toronto and a higher court of appeal, like you have an hour.
And that's the highest court for Ontario?
Before the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Yeah, so
gotcha. That's all interesting.
Yeah.
But let's talk about real estate.
Exactly. Let's stay away from the courthouse.
No, we don't want to go there. So you and I have been working together for many years.
Yes. I wouldn't even, probably close to 10 now. Like
I would imagine. Yeah.
8 to 10 years.
So a lot of transactions that we worked on together. A lot of successful closings. So thank you for all that help over the years. I really appreciate it.
It's like the saying, I scratch my back, you scratch mine. It's all about like business networking and fitting and working with the right person.
And you've got the great team with you also.
We do our best.
For sure.
I think good teams reflects like the service you're able to give. Like, one person in our industry cannot achieve everything we do.
So when did you start in the world of real estate law?
Real estate law, I was called to the bar in 2004, and then I did a couple years of criminal. I did 4 years of litigation. So I would say I started right around 2010, 12
Okay.
to do just real estate.
Gotcha.
Really, but it was, I don't want, like, it wasn't easy, but it was an instant success. Like the first year, I was expecting to really have a hard time, and it was a big career change, and we closed 120 deals on our first year.
Okay.
And then to compare that to today, like last year, we probably closed 350 to 400 deals.
Oh my God.
Like it blew up, but it blew up quick. Like we did around 100 for a year, stepped up to 160 the next year, and then we were in the 250 bracket for a long plateau of time. 250 was a comfortable number. But with market hikes and lows, like you'll get years of 350, like last year where the market were incredible.
Yeah.
And then you'll get years when the market's slower a little bit, you'll dip down to 250, 275
just
for
less transactions.
Less transaction, and a lot plays into the game. Like, like the market can get hot or cold, and sometimes a lot of people say when the interest rate doesn't move, it's great. But to me, it's the worst for a real estate lawyer. You need the interest rate to go up or down to create movement in the market.
Like for sure. I coach a lot of new real estate agents, and we'll get to the private real estate corporations soon enough. But that's more for the Ontario agents. But, a lot of my clients are new to the real estate industry, and I encourage them to go build a network of professionals in their local market, wherever that might be. How can a real estate agent approach a lawyer to start to form a relationship with them? What would you want to hear from a new agent in the industry?
It's a great question, because I would say, like, I've never been a realtor, but I would say that from a lawyer, you're always trying to get new realtor into your network. Because, like, I always joke around that the client is important, but your realtor are really the person that are important. Because a client's going to buy a house every 10 years or 15 years, might do a refinancing every 5 years, but the realtor is going to send you 20, 30, 40 deals a year. I think the biggest misconception of new realtor is that they feel like they don't have enough volume to create a relationship with a lawyer. But even sometimes I'll approach seasoned realtor, and I know they have a lawyer, and I'm just, send me 1 or 3 deals a year. Like, make me be your backup lawyer. And you'll see how my team works for you. And maybe one day, if your lawyer retired or decide that he's too busy, I'll be there for you. And I would say that the biggest thing is not to be like shy because you're starting in an industry, to go, I'll pick up the phone anytime a realtor calls my office. And if the realtor has to offer me 1 deal a year, I'd rather take that 1 deal a year, hoping that this realtor becomes very successful or join a really big team and start sending me 20, 30, 40 and say, hey, he was there for me when I had 1 or 3 deals a year.
There you go.
I think that's the misconception, is sometimes a lot of realtor would say, well, I don't really have a lawyer because I'm not busy enough. No, create a relationship where, like, I can take, for example, the relationship we built. Like, you were already a seasoned realtor when I met you, but we created a relationship where you're not shy to call my house a Saturday night at 9 p.m. And if I see your number, I know you're not disturbing me for nothing.
It's because it's important.
It's important, or you want to go to the hockey game. But at the end of the day, is we created a relationship where we're more friend almost than business partner. Like, we're not shy or like, oh, I'm going to disturb him, and that's my spiel to every realtor when I meet them. I say, this is my personal cell phone. Don't be shy to use it.
It's so useful because, I try to respect your time, and I don't call you, for useless things, but the times that I did need your help, it was so useful to have a partner as a lawyer, right? Just, hey, Jean-Nicolas, I'm running this by you because I'm not too sure. Marty, this is what you're going to do, And then the transaction goes so much more smoother from that point on, because, we wrote a clause that, protects my client. And then my client's more at ease. And, an ounce of prevention while writing the deal is worth a pound of cure when you're trying to close the deal, 3 months later. So it really
and
helps.
the network, to add to that, it's not just a realtor lawyer, it's having your mortgage broker part of your network, is having your banker or your insurance guy part of the network. So we always say it, like when we deal with the person we're used to deal, the deal goes smooth.
Oh yeah.
It's when sometimes you're kind of impose somebody by either the client, or the client just went on Google and found the cheapest lawyer or the cheapest insurance broker, that's when problem occur.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it's full of promises that don't happen at the end of the day.
So you heard Jean-Nicolas, don't be shy to reach out to new business partners. You guys, as new agents, you've got lots to offer. So don't ever be shy about that stuff. I think it's good to form new relationships.
Yeah.
So here in Ontario, for those of you that are listening that aren't from Ontario, you want to listen to this also, because if it is available in your state or province, then you should take advantage of this. And if you're in Ontario, you really want to listen, because this is new to the real estate industry. We can now incorporate ourselves as professional real estate agents.
Absolutely.
So when did this all go down?
It's been in the waiting for several years that we've been hearing about it, that it's coming, and realtor were always approaching our office, hey, can we incorporate? And I started hearing about the permission to do it. I don't have the exact date, but I'd say it came late last year in 2020, around November, December, where it's finally the parameter are out there, what you're allowed, what you're not allowed to do. And since the New Year's, I'm not saying this because we're here today discussing it, but there's already 3 to 5 realtor that approach me, hey, should I incorporate or should I not incorporate?
So let's talk about that. Why would somebody want to incorporate their business?
At the end of the day, the corporation, the PREC that we call it, the Personal Real Estate Corporation, is very similar to a normal corporation or any business person that would want to incorporate.
Okay.
The main reason you want to incorporate, I always tell clients there's 2 main reasons. The first one is liability. Liability is very high on my list when I talk about incorporation, because I like to sleep on my 2 ears at night and know that if I do a mistake in my business, or people that own real estate, that you have somebody slip and fall and then it's higher than your insurance coverage, you want the asset that you worked all your life to be protected and not risk being sued for it.
Yes.
And that's always the number one reason you would incorporate, is always liability. You create like another person. Like the corporation is like a person, a fictive person, you're going to tell me, but it's like a person. So basically somebody that would have a pet peeve with a deal that went bad in real estate, for example, and decide to sue you, they would sue your corporation. And that way it creates a line between your personal asset and what's owned by the corporation.
Yes.
The second main reason, and we're all the same, like whether we're in Canada or in the States, we don't like paying income tax. Like the
Amen.
percentage of income tax you would pay through a corporation is a lot slimmer than any of us would pay on a personal level. For example, a corporation will get, depending on your expenses and what you pass through your corporation, but you would look at paying 15 to 20% income tax bracket, where a personal person, I want to say successful realtor, would probably be in the bracket of paying 50%
yes.
of income tax. You would tell me at the end of the day, well, I passed my restaurant, I passed my gas, I passed this, I passed that. But the corporation has so much of a broader perspective on what can be passed through a corporation. I'm not giving Hill advice, but all of a sudden renovation, all of a sudden, we were just discussing before buying a vehicle. Like all of a sudden you can buy the vehicle under the corporation.
Under the corp. We will have an accountant on the podcast in the next few weeks to talk more about that. Mm-hmm. But you're absolutely right. There's
a lot of creativity behind it. Like,
and am I right in my understanding that the corporation makes 100,000. Your GCI, your gross commission income is 100,000. You really don't need that much money to live, right? Let's say you pay yourself a salary of 35,000. So you would be paying income tax on that 35,000 as you normally would. And then on the remainder 65,000, you would be taxed for that corporate rate, right? Which is
Exactly.
15 to 20%.
15 to 20%. The money stays in the corporation. And also, there's a lot of, I keep going back to expenses, but there's a lot of things that you buy on your day-to-day with your $35,000 paycheck that you pay yourself.
If your business is being taken care of, you know, what do you have left? You have your mortgage, groceries, if
clothes. That's about it. And even clothes, you can extend it. Your suit can probably be an expense.
I've tried that a few times with my accountants.
It's a gray zone. They don't like it.
You could buy like polo shirts, like with the logo on it. But like a full-on suit, like you're wearing.
No, that's hard to do.
Unless you want to have like your logo here.
Put or a pin or. But no. And the other thing is that corporation can become I'm just thinking out loud here, but let's say you leave $65,000 in your corporation year 1, year 2, you leave another $65,000. All of a sudden, you're close to $130,000 in that corporation, and you need to purchase something personally. You can put that corporation as it looks good to the eye of the bank. Hey, I have $200,000 in that corporation. Yes, you're not allowed to use that money to buy real estate or to buy anything, but the bank can look at you and say, okay, he's solid enough. He has
there's
assets.
Money there.
There's money there.
Because
the biggest difference between a normal corporation and the PREC, if we want to call it this way, is similar to a lawyer incorporating. We're regulated by boards or by the Ontario Bar. Where they put criteria into your corporation of what you're allowed or not allowed to do. The main one to be aware of is that you can only have as shareholder the realtor or a brokerage.
Okay.
You cannot have any partners that are not licensed. It's one shareholder per corporation.
No spouse?
No spouse. The spouse, we'll get to that, but basically, the reason they call it personal real estate corporation, it's not a team that can incorporate under those regulations.
Yes.
It has to be one realtor.
So if you have a team and your agents are interested in this, they would each have to get their own incorporation.
Exactly.
And
then you become the only person that's allowed to be a shareholder, a director, or an officer of that corporation.
Yes.
Is that realtor.
Okay.
The exception is you're allowed to have non-voting shareholders that are your immediate family member. Could be a spouse, could be
a parent,
your parent, a son, a daughter, but they don't have the right to have voting rights.
Okay.
So they become just shareholder in case of debt, for example. The money that would be in the corporation could be
for estate planning.
A little bit easier to translate to them. But that's very characteristic to the PREC is you can only have a realtor with a valid license being the sole shareholder, director, and officer. The other big thing that comes into those corporations that I read on is that the PREC cannot own any real estate, cannot have any investment, and only money from commission paid by a brokerage can go in that corporation.
Okay.
So we have to be careful a little bit. We cannot use that money to buy a building under that corporation. It's not as a standard corporation where you don't have any limit as to what you can do with.
So if I wanted to buy, let's say a piece of real estate and I needed $40,000 down, I would have to pay myself that $40,000, pay income tax on it at that time.
Yes.
And then, so if you're going to be doing something like this, you really need to plan ahead.
You need to plan ahead because there's a lot of gymnastic that can be done to minimize that income tax you would pay on that money. Because, for example, in this example, I would probably suggest to a client to create another corporation and create a loan of money. between the two corporation, which you're allowed to do as long as you repay it under certain terms, and that way there wouldn't be any consequence on an income tax level when you pull out your money to buy that property in that other corporation. It can also be a loan to shareholder. I'll leave the accountant to elaborate on this, but as if you put back the money into, like for example, like we're all in real estate. Like let's say you want to buy a building and there's positive cash flow out of it, you can probably use the money that your positive cash flow to reimburse the money you needed to purchase the property.
Of course, yeah.
And that way you played the gymnastic to pay 15%
you
to the
finance
government instead of paying 50%.
You auto finance yourself.
Exactly, in a certain way. Yes.
So if people are interested in doing this and they are Ontario realtors,
yes,
what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
To reach out to us, email is always the best mechanism. Like it's J Crepin, CREPIN at crepinlaw.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us.
And that's 1P, right?
1P, exactly. And then we're able to send them a pre-made questionnaire that our law firm has. And it's a simple 3-page PDF. You filled out, you send it back to our law firm, and within 48 hours, we have your corporation up and running and your minute books.
And should somebody be worried that we're already in 2021? Or should they just start right away?
They should, like, the quicker they can start, the better.
Yeah.
Because obviously you can declare expenses if the corporation wasn't open. But we're early in 2021. Like, I wouldn't suggest to anyone to wait to 2022 at this point. Like, because as soon as the corporation is alive, you're allowed to use it. So.
And you could save a lot of money.
You can save a lot of money, and it can become a good financial tool. Like when you look at it, it's not only the money you save in income tax, but it's what you can acquire with it, what you can protect. And like, I'm always a big believer. I'd rather the money in my pocket than the government pocket.
Yeah.
Like it's,
no, it's good. No. Yeah, I really, I'm looking forward to operate with this new corporation, and I'm happy that our industry now allows it. And I'm happy that there's people out there like you that understand it better than me to help you set up the entire process. What should a realtor expect to pay if they want to form a corporation?
I would say a normal corporation is approximately $1,500, all inclusive for a normal person. But if it's a new realtor approaching my office, I'm ready to give a $250 discount on that price.
Wow, so $1,250. And then they should probably book an appointment with their accountant.
Absolutely. And I'm fully open. Like I always say, like, I'm not the type of lawyer that's going to say, but if there's an accountant involved, I'm not involved. Like, I rather double check with their accountant if it fits their situation instead of just popping out corporation and then people are stuck with them when they don't really need it. Like, there's circumstances that they might not be needed to.
Good. And if you guys don't have an accountant, I'm going to recommend that you reach out to Mo Tebesh from New Metrica. You probably have accounting contacts also.
Yes, everybody has it.
Everybody
that's in business needs a good accountant.
Yes, for sure. I've learned that. So, okay, good. Well, expect people to reach out to you at jcrepin at crepinlaw.com. And is there a website that they can go?
Yes, they can go at www.crepinlaw.com.
Perfect. Well, I feel like I learned a lot today. Thank you so much.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
Likewise.